And we're back. I'm Michael Dean. I'm the co-founder of Avamore Capital, a bridging and development lender based in London in the UK. And we lend money to property entrepreneurs and developers between £500,000 and up to £10 million so that we can help deal with the UK's house building crisis and also help early stage property developers and entrepreneurs achieve their property development dreams and so they can achieve the levels of economic independence that they want to have. I'm here with my good friend Sam Zawadzki, who is the founder of Property Technology, which is a technology company that, generally speaking, enables estate agents and realtors in the UK currently, but with plans to go internationally, and we can talk about that in a moment, to be more effective. And the reason why it's very important for Avamore Capital's audience to be aware of this is, as property owners, property entrepreneurs and property developers, you want to be sure that when you're selling your properties through an estate agent or realtor, your estate agent realtor has all of the tools and capabilities at the disposal so that they are not missing out on sales, your sales, which they should be getting. So without further ado, welcome back, Sam. We've slightly adjusted the camera from the first round of the video, and I think the main reason for that was because you were a bit too much in the background, and we want everyone to hear from you because you're the star attraction here. So there was a point you wanted to make while we were just in the break that you wanted to touch on, and let's elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yeah, so it was a bit more of a technology general point.
Yeah.
We are working on a really interesting partnership with IBM, where we're getting some free access to IBM Watson to do semantic searches of text.
Very interesting.
It's going to be really cool. And we had one of the senior architects from IBM in yesterday, and we were chatting about that. But one of the side conversations we had was we got talking about Slack. And for people who aren't familiar with it, Slack is an instant messaging service similar to MSN Messenger, but it's more predominantly used in the developer world. It's a nice way to send code snippets to people. So the question we had was, how on earth does IBM, which is one of the largest companies ever, pay so much for Slack, so much for this one service, when they could A, develop it themselves, and B, they actually already had a competitor product that they were using. And it was a really interesting conversation because it's a mammoth company and they already had an instant chat service. Why are they paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to use Slack?
Sure.
And essentially they said, do you know what? Slack was better than what we had.
Okay.
It was better than what we had.
Fair enough.
And our younger developers wanted to use it, and it just solved a problem and it increased productivity. So we just got on with paying it and implementing it.
Fine.
And one of the questions that I get asked a lot from people about working with the larger property companies like Countrywide is, or CRM providers like Repit and Dupix is, well, why won't they just develop this themselves? But these big companies that are running a huge number of complex functions, even if it's something as significant as improving inquiry responses by 1/3 and generating a lot of business, they've got 1,001 other processes that they're still running. From managing the real estate of all those branches, the utility connections, the internet connections, through to team training, HR, they've got loads and loads of pieces. It doesn't necessarily make sense for them to try and build something in-house if they can just get a good supplier who maintains and manages a product to come in and fill their solution.
Yeah.
And a lot of the smaller estate agents we talk to have invested so much time and money in building their own CRM systems. And they're spending huge amounts every month on just maintaining those CRM systems. Whereas some of the more faster moving estate agents have just bought off the shelf packages. They've got an off-the-shelf live web chat, off-the-shelf email responder, and they've been able to move a lot faster and cover a lot more ground by just choosing best-in-class suppliers and working.
Yeah. Because ultimately, I mean, I know it's very much the thing in the tech world, which is don't wait until it's perfect. Just get it out there, get the best version you can out there, the functioning version out there, and things will evolve naturally. if there's a huge opportunity cost in if you're a realtor or an estate agent when you're building your own product, if you're waiting for your own product to be perfect, and then all the while you're waiting to do that, you're leaving all that money on the table when actually as a realtor, you're not really a tech business. That's not your core business. Your core business is selling and letting people's houses.
The equivalence would be, as a technology company, we use Amazon Web Servers. Now, we could just buy our own servers and plug them into the internet and maintain them. It doesn't make any sense. We use loads and loads of different software providers to be able to provide our service to estate agents, because it's much faster for us rather than actually building them ourselves to just buy existing ones, correct, pull it all together and to make it work as a solution for people. Yeah,
that's interesting. Do you, and that makes total sense. That really does make total sense. At the end of the day, you can't focus on everything. You can't be all things to all people. Sometimes you've just got to accept that there are products out there that already exist that are pretty good, and the amount of time that you'd have to put in on a technology side, and the amount of investment you'd have to make in a cash terms and time terms, you may as well not bother. Take the product that's there, and don't forget the opportunity cost of actually making the service that you provide to your customers as good as it can be now, rather than waiting however many moments in the future. And besides, we live in such a fast-paced environment these days. The need within the market could change while you're developing the product. So you invest all that time and money in creating the product.
Not relevant.
Yeah.
After
and like you said, it becomes not relevant, and it's a waste of time and money. So that's pretty interesting. Just talking nuts and bolts. Does your product also work with lettings as well?
Yes, lettings and sales. So the typical questions that are asked on the instant response survey to lettings inquiries are: when do you want to move? Is it in the next few days, next few weeks, next few months, or a longer term period? Employment status, and if you have pets. As simple as those three questions can determine a huge amount of relevance.
Yeah, because ultimately, and I guess smoking as well, right?
Yeah. Interestingly, smoking is, for most estate agents, smoking is a complete no-no. So just in the contract, it'll be no smoking. Yeah. So they don't even care if you're a smoker or not, because you're not going to be allowed to smoke in the property.
Yeah. But whereas pets is a kind of 50-50, right? Yeah. But I guess also employment status and
big one.
Because we talked about leaving money on the table in terms of missed leads, but there's also the pre-qualifying criteria that a lot of estate agents. And I guess there's also commercial. There are applications here in the commercial world as well, commercial property world. But I guess your core market is always going to be in the residential space, because that's a much broader and deeper market to be fishing in. We talk about opportunity cost. There's an also in terms of developing your own technology products. There's also that opportunity cost in real time, where you get an application from someone who's a complete time waster and a dreamer, and you spend the afternoon showing them around 20 properties, and then you go, all right, well, so you're going to make an offer, is anything of interest? Oh no, I'm just looking. Or say, oh no, I can't really afford it, or oh, we haven't got our mortgage sorted yet. And dealing with so many of these pre-qualifying criteria is absolutely essential to avoid that time, that wasted time.
We've got some really good statistics on this. One of the biggest ways that estate agents can waste time is Monday morning, I've got my inbox, 40 inquiries, I have to call them all. Now, some of those inquiries won't be relevant, so I'm wasting my time calling through to people that aren't relevant. If I don't reach them, which is 99% of the time, well actually it's about 90% of the time, people are at work, I can't get through to them, I'm spending a lot of time calling someone again and again and again to try and reach them who isn't even relevant.
Yeah.
The statistics that we have is an average office using our software is saving about 4.5 hours a week on not chasing up irrelevant leads. So a big time saving. That's almost not far off a full day of someone's time, completely saved every single week. And that time can be put to actually following up with the hot leads, really chasing down the hot leads and progressing them and getting that deal closed faster.
Yeah, I mean it's a productivity thing, isn't it? It's huge productivity gains. not just with your product, but generally with using technology and the tools that are out there, and that applies not just in the real estate industry, but across a broader spectrum. But because the real estate industry is maybe slightly slower in adopting technology, there are a lot of gains that could be made in the real estate space.
From a more general technology point of view, for estate agents, it's going to be really interesting over the next 5 years to see what happens to the CRMs. There's a big split. Some CRMs say, we're going to build everything in-house and we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Other CRMs say, we want to be the data hub and we want to make it really easy for you to link to whichever service provider you want. If it's for a virtual tour from Matterport, we'll link in with them. If it's for an inventory inspection app that you use, we'll link in with them. And we want to make it very simple and straightforward for you to work with the best-in-class technologies. Where I think this is going to go, my bet, I think big CRM providers like Salesforce are actually going to enter more and more of the real estate market because they provide estate agents with the ability to customize. And I think what a lot of estate agents will already sympathize with is they've had feature requests that they've put into their CRM provider and they're told, yeah, we're working on it. 3 years goes by and it's still not been done. They might not even be cloud-based yet. A lot of them aren't cloud-based yet, which makes it really tricky. And I think when an estate agent is making that big decision to change CRM provider, what they should be looking for is how easy is it going to be for this piece of CRM to plug into that new app that hasn't even been released yet, but in 2 years' time, all my competitors are going to be using. I need to have access to that. If I lock myself in on a CRM provider that doesn't have an API to link to third-party softwares, in 5 years' time, I'm really going to be paying for it.
Yeah, I think that's a point very well made. Let's talk about the benefits that your product and just generally technology can have for managers of realtors and estate agency businesses. Is there an opportunity to help streamline staff numbers? I mean, to my mind, in my opinion, I think there's clearly a great opportunity here where you can create greater efficiencies in terms of headcount, because if you're able to make your sales staff and letting staff more efficient, you don't potentially need so many of them. So maybe just talk me through what your thoughts are on that and where the benefits lie from from an ownership perspective, from a management perspective of an estate agency business.
Estate agents watching can correct me if I'm wrong, but my expectation would be smaller estate agents, maybe 1 to 3 offices. I don't think they'll change headcount. What I think they'll do is those time savings will enable them to either do more business with their existing headcount as opposed to firing people. Because if it's a small estate agency with only 3 employees, I don't see them getting rid of people that are friends and often family. Where I think it has a huge impact is with the slightly larger agents.
Bigger branches, I guess, as well.
And bigger branches. As soon as it gets to plus 20 offices, a lot of those agents have centralised back office. And that centralised back office will be just doing email response, call handling, and there will be massive savings to be made.
Yeah, that seems pretty obvious to me.
Yeah,
very obvious. And let's move on to statistics and how you guys are performing and the changes that you're bringing about and the benefits that your existing customer base is seeing. I get a weekly update email from you telling us how you're doing and more importantly how your customers are doing. You'll have to forgive me because I haven't memorised the numbers, but it gives you an opportunity to tell the world how well your existing customer base is doing and how you're growing. So
in terms of our existing customers, the financial savings that they see in terms of time is usually about £180 to £240 a month of staff time saved.
Yeah.
What we're currently working out is 2 really interesting statistics, which is the number of mortgage referrals that have been generated from the software and the number of vendor leads that have been identified, which otherwise wouldn't have been.
So we're talking about that's. I mean, we talked about extra vendor leads that you're going to get the benefit of, but mortgage referrals as well. I mean, we talk about compound effects. that's that's really remarkable, isn't it?
One simple process change, as simple as just ensuring that every single inquiry is asked, do you have a house that you need to sell? Would you like the best rates on your mortgage? Just being militant about that process is starting to have massive results. Perry commented that he had 2 new vendor instructions thanks to the software. We're seeing statistics that we've got one medium-sized agency that has had 8 new mortgage referral leads come through that they wouldn't previously have captured. And the value of these really change, but that could be £500 per mortgage lead to almost £1,000 per mortgage referral lead.
And I guess to the brokers out there that are watching this or get to see this, that could include the brokers that introduce business to us, but also just more generally mortgage brokers. If you're a mortgage broker and you've got an association with an independent chain of estate agencies, if you've got someone like Sam's technology, the property technology on board, you're more likely to get referrals, you're more likely to get leads, and that means more money. So I mean, that's a big thing. And I mean, I know some estate agencies also refer customers to solicitors as well, and they get referral fees from that too.
We haven't even scratched the surface.
We really haven't scratched the surface. I mean, there's a huge industry, and lead generation is in property, and particularly on the sales side.
Such a high value.
In a funny way, I think. In a funny way, you think the primary beneficiary of your business or your technology is a selling agent selling an existing property, but actually probably where the real value add is not in the time saving, but actually the lead generation that it creates, and not missing out on those inquiries which might have led to sales instructions.
There's really a huge amount of money to be saved and made. On the made side, it's more vendor instructions, more mortgage referrals, more solicitor referral fees. On the save side, it's staff time, but it's also joint agency properties. If Central London, very competitive at the moment, 3 other estate agents are also marketing the same property, well, do you know what? Whoever buys it, they're probably browsing on Rightmove or Zoopla. It's going to be a case of whoever responds fastest to their inquiry actually gets them in the property and actually wins the commission for that business. And I think that we're going to start to produce some really significant numbers on that as well.
And this fantastic service, I mean, is it expensive? What is it costing your customers at the moment?
So at the moment, we have 39 different estate agents using it, and it's only been live for 2 months. So we've been giving it away completely free to these beta users who are giving us a lot of feedback and helping us improve the processes. As of next month, we will introduce a charge tier, which will be for customization of the form, but we'll still give a freemium tier, which is absolutely free to use.
So it still remains free to use for anyone who wants to use it, and only if you customize it for them in any way would they have to pay for it.
Yeah, and the paid customizations, so the free tier will cover white label, instant response, and set questions. Those questions perform really well. So the set questions, we've done a lot of analysis on this, and about 87% of consumers are filling out the set questions, which really makes complete sense. If you inquire for a property to buy and within a minute you've got a response saying, great, we'd love to prioritise your inquiry, can you just tell us when you want to move, if you're employed, and if you've got pets, you're just going to fill that out because you want to move ahead with seeing around the property. So that's working really well. So those will be the free tier. You'll get the majority of the benefits of the product. The paid tier is for agents who want to have extra customization, and that's particularly around data management. So if you've got a really high volume of inquiries and you want that linked into your CRM so that your team aren't typing it out, or if you want those mortgage referral leads automatically sent on there.
Okay, and then I think we're getting close to wrapping up now. But Sam, you're an early stage technology company. Where are you at in terms of your business and your funding? Are you going to be looking out for external funding at some point?
Yeah. So last summer we did a friends and family round to really help us iterate through some ideas, get that feedback from the market. In October, we're going to be doing an angel round, and we'll be holding a launch event to show the business plan and roadmap on the 9th of October here at Rocket Space.
I'll be there.
So anyone that is interested in coming along, please do get in contact.
So please DM us or get in touch with us now, either in the comments below. DM. You can DM me personally. You can DM Sam if you're interested in joining that angel round or learning a little bit more about the business from an investment point of view. If you're a VC investor or an angel investor, and how much do you think you're going to want to raise in that round?
We're looking to raise £400,000 in that round, and we really want to see that move us from our current traction, which is now almost 5,000 inquiries a month responded to and almost 3,000 consumers profiled. We'd like to see that money help us really grow in the UK to 10x that, and we'd also like to look at international expansion. We think that there's some incredibly exciting possibilities in the American market for adaptation of this exact technology of helping to respond to, engage, qualify and monetize lead data.
Can you, if an American realtor from anywhere in the States got in contact with you as a result of seeing this video or otherwise, how quickly could you onboard them as a customer? Could you onboard them as a customer now, or would you need to wait a while?
For an American realtor, it depends on how many different websites they're advertising. For us to be able to link in with a new website, Zwilio, Redfin, Trulia, takes us about 2 days development time. But then once it's linked, it's linked.
Okay.
So if an American realtor using all those sites wanted to sign up, it would take us around about a full week, including a weekend, of development time to be able to have them live. But we could completely do that. Yeah.
And presumably you for the first couple of realtors that you got signed up from the States, you'd probably cut them a pretty nice deal.
Yeah.
Maybe give them an extended freemium package to get you started in the States.
Definitely.
Okay, so American realtors out there, if you want to generate more leads and frankly have it cost you no money,
limited time off. For
limited time only. That's very true, and you will regret it if you don't take advantage of this opportunity. I think, Sam, we've obviously had a nice chat, and I think we'll wrap this up shortly. But I mean, just generally speaking, what are your views on the prop tech world? Do you see a lot of? Are you excited? Do you see a lot of innovation, or do you subscribe to maybe my slightly more jaundiced view of it, where I see a lot of scratching around at the margins, and yet the greatest advances in property technology are Airbnb and Rightmove.
Yeah. There's been so many advances in fintech, and we're just talking about the movement of money. Obviously, there's a lot of money to be made there, and there's a lot around security, encryption, cryptocurrencies, some really exciting stuff. But when we look at the value of real estate as an asset class, it's absolutely huge.
It's enormous.
It's almost hard to conceive the quantities of money that are tied up in real estate.
I think I read an estimate. It was something in the region of $20 trillion US, and that might be an underestimate as well.
And when you look at the inflows and outflows of money, so many of those contracts are tied to a property.
Yeah.
So the largest expenditure for the average person is either rent or mortgage repayments, and then probably food, and then after that it's going to be utilities around their household, be that insurance, electricity, maintenance, repairs. Being able to improve data management and service provision in the property space will be absolutely massive business opportunity. I think we're seeing companies like Amazon looking at moving into it as a space, and I think that they've identified that they want, be it through Internet of Things, so Echo, the dot button, they're looking at how to integrate more around the home. And I think that prop tech as a general category is quite broad. It goes from everything from construction, which I think will improve massively, through to design, 3D design, VR, right through to financing, right through to maintenance and support services. I expect that as an industry, it's completely going to take off.
Yeah.
I think the next 5 years, it'll become mainstream for VCs and angels to be looking at investing in property technology companies across all those verticals.
Yeah. I guess the more intelligent and talented people you draw into a sector, the more you create an ecosystem that, we talk about compounding effects, that the compound effects start really generate themselves. And maybe now is not the time to judge where PropTech is, but actually maybe the time to look at PropTech will be in 5 years' time, when perhaps it's a little bit more, it's got a little bit more maturity about it.
And I also think that a lot of prop tech is very closely related to fintech.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I think we'll see disappearing over the next 5 years, you won't get utility companies sending you mail through the post about changing utility provider. Same with insurance, it'll just stop because they'll know exactly when you move home, they'll know when the contracts are renewed. It won't happen anymore. I think that a lot of the financing around properties will adapt as well, be that new novel ways that you can move from renting a property to owning a property. I think Rayhan from Unmortgage is working on some of that stuff. Maybe that's 10 years out, it's going to be difficult to change, but there are going to be massive changes in space.
Yeah, I think that's right. I just from my perspective, I actually think construction technology is something that gets me quite excited, because you look at a lot of the inefficiency around construction and building, and the days of a hairy ass builder clocking off at 4 o'clock and stopping 3 times a day for their cup of tea and to read the Sun are going to be, I think, a thing of the past very quickly. When you see robotic bricklayers able to lay,
it's crazy,
thousands of bricks a day, off-site construction, BIM obviously is a big thing, and I think that again in the construction world, BIM, people just haven't scratched the surface on BIM yet.
A lot of the
there's
AR,
there's so much.
The AR to be able to be on site and to be able to be just sense checking exactly what's going where. Yeah, it's going to,
because you look at the housing crisis, and one of the issues that you've got around housing is that, aside from the planning issues, you've got a huge, the first thing that you learn in the economics modules on real estate courses, that you have an inelasticity of supply. You cannot provide supply at the point of need. There's always a lead time, and that's why you either in property markets, and we haven't seen too much of it recently, but you see oversupplies in property markets, but more commonly, as we see in the UK, an undersupply of housing, because there's an inability of the market to respond quickly enough to the need. And clearly, if you can reduce construction times substantially, then and maybe potentially reduce it down from building a block of 20 or 50 flats might traditionally take 9, 12, 15 months, maybe longer. If you can do that in 3 months, then you're able to get on site and you're able to get things sold. We talk about opportunity cost again. You're reducing that opportunity cost enormously. You hugely increase productivity within the sector. There are huge economic benefits from that. And even if there are human jobs lost on a micro scale, those new jobs will be created out of that, which will create further opportunities for people who are sufficiently trained and skilled.
I'm also particularly interested in how technology is going to impact the build-to-rent sector, and my viewpoint on that is from a maintenance point of view. There's going to be so many new technologies, particularly Internet of Things and smart houses, that make it far easier to maintain those properties. Yeah. The number of times that a tradesman will turn up and not have the right part, not know where to look, make the wrong hole, have to replaster. I mean, once again, in 10 years' time, I see that being completely minimal. Maybe not in older properties, but in new builds where there's a package and people are looking for returns over 20 years and they're looking at how they can reduce maintenance costs. I think that'll factor in significantly there.
That's right. I mean, PRS, when the PRS funds, for example, look at a deal, they look at the gross rent and then they deduct 25% off that before they capitalise that to establish what in their minds would be the gross development value. And clearly, any way that they can reduce that pay away at 25%, maybe down to 20 or 15, when you think about if you think about the scale and the size of the portfolios that these pension funds are looking to amass in the PRS sector, that 5 or 10% difference will make a huge, create huge benefits from for pension fund investors, and that will also benefit savers. So if you have your money in a pension fund and your pension fund is investing in PRS, not only it's doing doubly good work, because not only is it creating additional housing and reducing the housing burden in the country, but also they're creating additional efficiencies so that you can enjoy a more comfortable retirement. So that's that too is a very, very great thing.
I look forward to the day that the pipe bursts and the guy comes around with the HoloLens on and he goes, all right, yeah, the stopcock's there, all right, okay, I need to get that panel done. All already in there.
Well, I'm looking forward to the day when the drone arrives when the drone arrives within half an hour with the part and does it right there and then. Sadly, I think at that point the robots may have taken over and Skynet will win.
So where Elon Musk will have the colony.
Yeah, we'll be on Mars. That's right. Okay. Well, I think on that bombshell, we'd like to thank all of you who've taken the time to join us this morning for watching. Those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, you might be watching it not live, but perhaps after we've recorded this, you will be able to watch the entire video. So if you missed any of part 1 or part 2, you'll be able to catch up with this on the Avamore Capital Facebook page. That's www.facebook.com/Avamore Capital, and both parts 1 and 2 will be live on here. If you want to get in touch with us on social, Sam, could you give people your social handles, please?
Yeah, at SamZski, SKI, for Twitter. And if you search Sam Zawadzki, ZAWADZKI, you'll find me on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, that's great. And you've got a Facebook page as well if you want to get in touch with it on Facebook?
Better on Twitter or LinkedIn.
Okay.
I've not adapted to Facebook as well as you have. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to say that we have too. If you obviously if you want to get in touch with me personally, I'm at property_funder. Both on Twitter and Instagram, which is now my new favourite social media platform. You can also get hold of me on LinkedIn. And if you search for me on www.linkedin.com/propertyfunder. Okay, without further ado, thank you very much for joining us and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And if you're watching us on a day that isn't a Wednesday in the future, then I hope you enjoy your day too. Thank you.